Hello, it's me once again with another edition of reading of the text from Adventure in English. So today I'm thinking of cross cultural breezes. So the topic is marriage is a private affair. What do you think? Is marriage a private affair or is it a public affair? I hope. The question mark in your mind, right? Okay, first of all, you should be very sure about that. What is a private affair and a public affair? Okay, so most of the marriages, if they follow the culture, if they go by the tradition, okay, like for example, marriages in our culture, it is a belief that are fixed by our elders, say mom, dad, elderly people, parents. So when we agree to get married to a person selected by our parents, then that is a public affair. On the other hand, it can be a public affair. You are in love with someone and you want to marry that person. If your parents agree to accept that person, either boy or a girl, and of course, that can also be a public affair. Why? Because parents are agreed through you, and then your parents will visit girls' parents, or say boys' parents will visit girls' parents, or girls' parents will visit boys' parents before marriage. And when they settle the deal, when the deal is final, then say according to the financial status of the family members, cars are distributed or whatever, in whichever way, according to the culture, we go to temple and get married. So today I'm just talking in a bit conversational way. Okay, you may find some stammerings and hiccups in between my talk. I want it to go naturally like this, as if I go in the classroom. So you can find bit of pauses or gaps in between my talk. So this is what in one sense you can say there. Okay, so now when we talk about this marriage is a private affair by Chinua Achebe, then we can find here is there are two characters. Of course, we might find a bit difficulty with the names since they are African names. So one is Nemeka, another is Nene. So Nemeka is a male character and Nene is a female character in the story. Here what we find is Nemeka lives in a city and he is in affair with a girl named Nene. Nene lives in a city, so you can say she's a city girl. She does not know much about the village life or say tribal life, because here in this story, what we find is Nemeka belongs to Igbo tribe. So Igbo tribe. So therefore, here it's a bit difficult. It's a bit difficult for for Nemeka to talk to his father. In the beginning, it may seem that Nemeka is narrow-minded, but the fact is that in Igbo tribe that Nemeka belongs to, their marriages are decided by the elder members of the family. Say here you can say Nemeka and Nene to get married. Nemeka should get the agreement of his father, which seems difficult. Then later on, what happens? As we know, as you have read this story, what we find is when he goes home, when Nemeka goes home and talk to his father about his engagement with the girl from the city named Nene, his father does not like the idea. Why? Because his father has already selected a girl for him. So here the main conflict is choice. Father's choice and son's choice. Father's choice belongs to the same culture, same tribe, Igbo tribe, whereas the son's, Nemeka's choice is from a city, and Nene, she belongs to a different tribe. Then here, both of them they disagree. He does not like, Nemeka does not like the idea of his father's agreement. On the other hand, Nemeka's father doesn't like the way he has selected a girl for himself. Therefore, he departs. He departs to town. They get married. It's not everything is given here in the book, but we can understand when we read the story. They get married and they have two sons. Nemeka and Nene, they have two sons. Since then, there has been no contact, according to the story. There has been no contact between father and son, and 8 years have been passed. 8 years have been passed, and it seems that Nemeka's father has already forgotten both of them. But what we can find another thing from this story is the marriage of Nemeka and Nene does not remain in the village only. It spreads far and wide. That means other people from other culture also come to know about the intercaste, you can say, intertribal, since Nemeka belongs to one tribe and Nene belongs to another tribe. So in that sense, you can say that intertribal, intertribal marriage. Many people come to know. Even people, they say that they are the happiest couple. Happiest couple. Why? Because Nene has adjusted. Nene has adjusted to the way Igbo people think. This is what we hear from the story, but his father, Nemeka's father, does not like to hear anything from him. Therefore, this the talk about, or you can say the life about, or the life of Nemeka and Nene is only the villagers they know. And whenever any villagers try to talk to Nemeka's father about his activity and all this, his father goes crazy, or you can say kind of mad person, shouts at people, doesn't want to talk about his son, so something like this. And therefore his father does not have much information about this. But one day, Nemeka's father gets a letter from his daughter-in-law, you can say. Though he has not accepted Nemeka's father has not accepted Nene, but Nene has written a letter to Nemeka's father saying that, dear father, from the day they have come to know about their grandfather, they want very much to meet you. Therefore, I request you, I will remain in the city, but Nemeka and the two sons will come to visit you. You please meet your grandsons, something like that. Not exactly. I have just I've used my own words also. In that way, Nene writes a letter to his father-in-law, I should say. So at that time, when father-in-law reads the letter, he seems broken. He has no idea why. Because for so many years he has been so strong, but now he thinks that he has become weak because his two sons, grandsons, are to be there when with the arrival of the grandsons means arrival of the whole family members. So this is what happens, but it is not told in the story. It is not said in the story that the two grandsons they have come there to meet their grandson, and the story ends in this way. So now we may think that how a story ends in this way, because here it's the issue of marriage. Is issue of even if we talk in our culture, like we live in subcontinent culture. Subcontinent means this Nepal, India, Pakistan, or say suppose this Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and it's a big issue. Marriage, especially in Nepal. Of course, people have broad-minded, no doubt. But when it comes to marriage, people really think. People really think that in which way they should go ahead. It's about caste, culture, and many things. Many things. Whatever we say, whatever we read in books. But when it comes to marriage, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. So in that sense, we can understand this story. So therefore you can say that because Nemeka and Nene, they are not accepted by the Igbo culture. Therefore we can say it is a private marriage. It is a private affair. So private marriage is a private affair in that sense. But if they are accepted by the society, for society to accept, first of all, Nemeka's father has to accept. Nemeka's father has to accept Nene. Then only it will be accepted by the whole society. Then in that sense, it will be a public affair. Otherwise, in that sense, what Shinwai HEV wants to say is it's a very big deal. It's a very problematic issue. It's not that easy when we talk about marriage. This is what actually the message is this. So you can say if you have to write is marriage a private affair or public affair, then you have to understand in that way. Yes. Okay. If you are accepted by the society at large, if you take the recommendation, suggestion, or publicity, let's say publicity, like you can find when both the parents, girl's parents and boy's parents agree, and when we get married, so we can say that is a public affair. Otherwise, if they are not accepted by the parents, so in that sense, private affair. So this is what HEV wants to say. Okay, now for example, say would you say that marriage in Nepal is a private affair? Quite tricky question. So how can we say, again, same thing comes to us, how it is a private affair and how it is a private affair, how we can say in Nepal marriage is a private affair. So if a boy selects a girl, that means if a boy chooses a girl, or if a girl chooses a boy, and this boy and girl come in terms, come in the agreement along with the help of their parents, and if they get married, then we can say that is a public affair. Otherwise, suppose if you run away, for example, if you run away, we say elope in English. If you run away, like boys and girl boys and girls, they run away. Why? Because there are difficulties in getting married. So what they do, they run away. They run away and they get married. So you can say this is also private affair. Why? Because they are not accepted by the parents and they run away. So this is one. For example, this is one. And second, like you go to court, like we say court marriage. So court marriage means, yeah, court marriage happens in many ways, of course, but court marriage means normally what happens when there is a